Hi guys. Well, we got another week in the book. We got our first month of January down, the first month of the first quarter. I think results wise, we did pretty good. I'm still not real happy with my trading. I'm still working on making sure I clean that up. My execution in the mornings it's been really bad, and a lot of it has centered around me trying to do too much at one time. And I know there's some things that I'm going to have to change and work on to get better. And that's exactly, what I'm doing and what I'm going to be working on going into February. Now, I know I've shared this message with you guys before, but it's one of those that's so important that I have to keep bringing it up at least once or twice a quarter. And that's, don't make excuses. You make the adjustments. Because successful people, they take full responsibility for their actions. Whether it's a direct result of what they did or an indirect result of something that they had no control over, they still take full responsibility for it. Therefore, they don't make excuses. They just make the adjustments. These people spend less time bitching, moaning, and complaining and more time grinding, doing whatever it takes to be successful. So, we really don't start experiencing growth until we start feeling uncomfortable in what we're doing and in our learning. And once we start to feel that, feeling uncomfortable and we have to work a little bit harder to make things work, then that's when we're starting to grow. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then once you start seeing the results of your grinding, of you going through the hard times, dealing with some drawdowns, dealing with some mistakes that you make in trading, once you see positive results start to come from that, it becomes an addiction. And that's when that light turns on and you start doing whatever it takes and you start that grind. Because we all know very few trades execute under ideal circumstances. So when we put in practice, we have to do it in a real-time simulator because we have to practice the same unknowns that we're going to face in the market. If we just sit there and paper trade, like write down where we would get in and where we would get out, and that does us no good. Absolutely no good whatsoever. You want to practice on a real-time simulator like TraderView or, not TraderView, Trading Sim, or if you have access to Thinkorswim, use the on-demand feature. Whatever it takes, where you can practice at night, put in your time, and I'm going to tell you, one of the worst emails I get, the one that I hate the most, is that person that texts me and it sends me an email and says, "Hey, I gotta cancel my membership because I just don't have the time to make this work." Well, my first question would be, do you really want this? Because if you really want this, you wouldn't be making an excuse as to why you want to quit or using the lack of time to make you want to quit. And the reason why I can say that is because I was one of those people who had less time than the average person to try and make this work when I started. See, I was a teacher. I had to be to school at 7:45, but I also had to take my son and my daughter to school before I got to school. And I was there from 7:45 to 3:30. Pretty much the whole time in the market. Both my kids were in sports. My son played basketball and baseball. My daughter played softball. And she was in drama. And they all had activities. So there were many nights where I didn't get home until after 9:30. And, you know, we had to go through, get everybody ready for bed, you know, kind of wind down together. And then it might have been 1 o'clock in the morning. But I put in my time because this is what I wanted. I could have easily said, you know, I just don't have the time to learn this. You know, I just don't. But I made time. I made the adjustments because this is what I wanted. So yeah, if you're willing to make these adjustments, then you know you really want this. And I'm not saying, well, maybe, you know, you're not finding the time because you realize it's just not what you want to do. It's not what you thought it was. Then that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to do this and you have a passion for learning how to trade the markets and you want to become financially independent, then you're going to have to make the adjustments. Because I promise you, if you're sitting around waiting for the right time, that right time is never going to come. You know, I hate to be blunt about it, but this is the way it was put to me. You know, so you keep waiting, you may be dead and buried before you find the time to do anything. And, you know, that hit home. Because I know we only have one chance at life here on earth, the time that we have here. And if we don't do what it takes to accomplish these goals, if we continue to let things go and make excuses as to why we can't get to where we need to be at that point in our life, we're never going to make it. Never going to make it. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of time. But I tell you, the worst feeling in the world is making excuses to your kids as to why you can't get them a good bat that all of the other kids have, that gives you a good chance to get hits. You know, why you can't, you know, buy a decent laptop or, you know, an Apple so that you could edit your videos in your production class and your theater class and do your all of your reports, projects and stuff. That all I could afford was a $250 laptop that really couldn't run half the software that they needed. I mean, it's a bad feeling. So I knew that I had to step it up. And that I couldn't make excuses anymore. I had to make that adjustment. And now, you know, I can pretty much do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. And it took time. Yeah, I had to grind. I mean, there was many nights my wife woke me up at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm still sitting in that chair asleep. You know, I fell asleep working. But, you know, she knew the dream I had and why I was doing what I was doing. Because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And once you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then things start happening for you. And that's where it went. So, like I said, you know, very few trades are going to execute under the ideal circumstances. We know this. We see it every day. So we have to practice that way. We have to get comfortable with that so that we know that it's going to happen and we're able to make the adjustments in the trade. Because it's too easy for us to make an excuse as, well, my broker screwed up. I could easily use that when I was with SureTrader. You know, that was a classic there. But I always took responsibility for it. Whether they screwed up or not, I'm still responsible because I clicked the button. You know, but I became comfortable with adapting and adjusting on the fly. And that's what you have to do. And that's where, this practice comes in. Practicing it till it hurts. Because in trading, you have to master the unknown. You have to master your fears. You have to master the unexpected so that it becomes expected. You expect the unknown. You expect trades not to do exactly what you want it to do when you want it to do it. And then you know what to do when you're faced with that adversity. Because successful traders push through and continue grinding through all of this when everybody else is quitting around us. We don't let those people get in our heads and say, well, I told you this was a scam. But it's not a scam, because there are a lot of us that make money doing it. It's just that you have to stop making excuses. You got to make the adjustments, and you got to keep driving forward. Now, do you continue to practice with real money? No, you don't do that. The practice I'm talking about is at night, after the market, using these market replay simulators is the best investment if you have to buy it. It's one of the best investments. Just either a simulator like Thinkorswim. There's simulators, I know the Thinkorswim one is delayed, or you may be able to get it real time. I'm not sure. I've never used that one. But, I'm looking to switch over. Well, I am going to switch over to a different broker, and they use Sterling Pro. And so I've been messing with that, simulator. And that's nice. I didn't realize simulators could be that nice. But, it's delayed. So, I have to not be looking at the market so that I could, get that unknown factor in. But you have to do that. You have to get prepared. You have to learn how to master the unknown, elements that are going to be present in every trade that we take. So when something happens, we make the adjustment. We don't make an excuse. All right, so let's take a look at what I did today. I traded AAPL really because of earnings. I did trade it on earnings yesterday after the close, but I missed a huge move on it. I only made a couple $100 on it, but I missed that big move. But that's fine. I took it, and I knew what the setup was. I knew why I did what it did, and I was looking today, looking for it to sell off. But what disturbed me was the big sell-off pre-market. That's what really disturbed me, that it was selling off all before the market even opened. So it kind of made me skeptical about taking, these opening trades, and got me jumping in a little bit early. Really shouldn't have jumped in when I did. I did the same thing yesterday, but ended up getting in before the 5-minute candle even closed. The next candle opens, and just like clockwork, it turns around and runs right back up to VWAP. Now it happens. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 candles to do it. In this case, we went right up on this first candle and then sold back off. And, then we started to work. Now, I'm having to, I've got a wider max loss that I'm willing to accept because we're in a volatile market and we have to make these adjustments. When the market is slow, like it was most of last year, then we had to keep our stops tight. We had to keep things tight. When the market is volatile like this, we have to open it up. We can't have tight stops. That's one of the adjustments we have to make when the market picks up. So yeah, I'm not breaking my rules. I adjusted based on market conditions. And that's what I'm trying to, relay to you guys as these are some of the adjustments that we have to make going forward. If you're in a small account, the market gets real volatile, you have to size down, give it more room, but the market's going to move more. Your stock's probably going to move more. So you'll probably end up making the same amount of money on half the shares that you would full size in a slower market. So it's all relative and it all works out. But I got short here, held through the little discomfort time here, and we broke the open range low, sold off. I was able to cover some, and when we start to recover, I take profit. Now I was a little bit concerned here, and when this candle showed a whole lot of weakness, I ended up just getting short again. And that was the wrong thing to do, obviously. This was it just faked me out. I mean, I can't say anything else about it. It faked me out. I got short here. They ended up getting stopped out and gave back about half of what I made on this. So we were going up to the 9, and I was like, I want it again. Shorted it again. Bam, got stopped out one more time. So, okay, maybe third time's a charm. By now, I changed my mindset. I'm like, this is not going to work. The market is Friday. The market's a little slower. We're losing some volume on this stock. Even though we are, over 1 million shares traded, we're losing volume based on where we were, at the open. So, and that's why I said I'm going to have the mindset of an all-day trade. Where I get in and I'm going to hold it all day. And as we slowly grind and hit the strategic points, I'm going to take profit. And that's exactly what we did. I slowed it down, started looking at this on a 30-minute chart, which we'll look at here in a minute. What this does is it slows down all of this stuff. Because when you're in a trade like this and you're waiting and you wait, it's like watching paint dry. But look at where I got in up here. Let's see. 163.68 up here. It moved 3 points. But look how long it took to move 3 points. But it moved 3 points. So it doesn't matter whether it takes 15 minutes to move 3 points or it takes 3 hours to move 3 points. 3 points is 3 points. But what happens is if you're sitting here watching each candle form, then you're going to end up taking this off. Like if I was sitting here watching each candle form, I might have taken it off up here. But I wasn't, looking at a 30-minute chart, and it's slowing all of this mess down. And so I didn't quite get it at the 162.50. I couldn't catch the dip, but I did get a decent cover. And remember, we're not trying to bottom tick and top tick stocks. We're just trying to get the meat of the move. And if it bounced off of this level a little bit, then so be it. This candle gave another opportunity down here, but we started to turn back around. And again, I'm not sitting here just watching this all the time. Not on a 5-minute chart. It's just, it doesn't make sense. But what does happen sometimes is I'm off doing something else and I missed the flush right down to the target. I missed it because, I had to make a pit stop. And this happened in a matter of a minute. I was gone from my computer maybe a minute to a minute and a half. And this move had happened. So I kind of had to hold through all this again before I got this cover, and ended up stopping out, right here. This was a profit stop here. But the problem was I had to leave. I have to leave at 3 o'clock every day to pick my son up. So I'm only going to leave at least one. If I'm in 2 trades and I'm doing the all day thing, I'm only going to leave 1 trade on because I can't watch 2. So I left the other trade on and I took this one off because I didn't think we were going to have much more. But sure enough, going into close, this thing sold off through this 160.86. And I did have a final target after this as 160.50, which we would have hit. But, that's fine. I caught the meat of the move. I traded well, once I got through this fiasco, and I slowed everything down and I traded it. And, pretty pleased with that. So, and this is why I'm not clean. And I'm not as clean in my trading as I want to be. I want to eliminate this riffraff here. I want to eliminate jumping back in trades, anticipating the rejection, or the continuation down, and just kind of be patient and catch and get in at the right time. So that's what I'm trying to clear up here. But because I do have risk management strategies in place, I'm able to take these stops and, still make money on this. All right, so the next trade, this is the daily chart on it. You can see these were the windows that I was looking at, working in. And we pretty much closed up all of them. And this is the 15-minute chart. You see how after we trade the morning, you see how going to a slower time frame or a larger time frame kind of slows this down, and it looks a little bit more inviting. And this is pretty much what I traded on. So I like to slow things down on days like today. And the key is knowing when to do it, when to make that adjustment. And that comes with experience, comes with screen time. You can't buy screen time. I don't care. You can pay XYZ trader $5,000 to learn how to trade, but you can pay him $5,000. You can subscribe to me for $99, and you still aren't going to get. You still can't get screen time. You can't buy it. You can't go to the store and get somebody to insert the knowledge in your head. Maybe one day that's going to be possible, but we can't do it now. So the only way to do it is for you to put in that hard work, for you to make the decision that, hey, I'm going to put this time in every day. I'm going to look at this learning, getting screen time, and really learning how stocks move. Excuse me one second. Be quiet, girl. Sorry about that. So Baba was the next one, and I kind of really missed the boat on this. I don't know what I would have done different in this, because I actually waited. I let this candle go and then waited for this candle, and it confirmed. Now, if anything, I got in a little bit too late. I was just overcautious getting in. But I would have waited for this. We had a nice sell-off, and we had to bounce here. and I was trying to catch the rejection and the trend continuation off the 9. And I thought we had it here because we couldn't push here. Here we tried, and we closed this candle on the downside. And so I just felt good about getting in here. But it turned around on the next candle, ended up stopping me out. And so we went back up to the VWAP and the 20. And I'm like, okay, this is what it's been doing for the last several weeks. So, once it does that, I'll get in and I think I'll be good. So I waited. We came back. I got in again. And it kind of did this all during lunch. And I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm really sick of, the price action and the way some of these stocks are trading now. And I'm tired of stopping out. So I just went ahead, and when we got here, I added. And, it turned around and it pulled back, just like I had anticipated it was. I knew that during lunch, if you had a stock trending down, a lot of times it's going to pop on you. It's going to move up, and it's going to give you an opportunity to short the pop on it. But, what I did was I was going to go to lunch. I didn't want to miss the trade, so I go ahead and take it. It looked like it was working out great, and it didn't. So I can't say this was a smart ad. I mean, I can't say that was the smartest thing to do. But it's what I felt I needed to do at the time to make this thing work. And, we got back below. We worked and worked and worked. We got back below VWAP. And then we started working it out. And so I went from being, I was down $200-300, I guess, after this. And was about to do the same thing here, but, was able to work it out. And ended up having a pretty decent day. This 244 came, after this big loss right here. So this took a chunk out. I had to look and see how much it was. If it wasn't, it had to be over $300 that I was down. So it could have easily been 544 here. Or I could have waited and got this after I got back from lunch, and it would have turned out great. But again, slowing the time frame down. Once we get into this part of the day, just kind of slowing it down and watching that longer time frame. Take some of the anxiety away from the trade, and kind of calms me down as well. So here's the daily chart. You can see this is what I was looking for today. When I got in it, we had a trend line here, a ascending support that this bounced off of. And then there was another level right along, with it. So I figured this was probably where it was gonna, end. I said 186.50. I think is where I had my my last cover on this. It never did hit it, but you can see we had a nice window in here, and trading around these moving averages, and then having this ascending support right here really made a difference. Now, I don't draw these myself. I'll look at FinViz, and if FinViz has an ascending or descending support or resistance, then I'll add that to the chart. I'm not going to come draw my own. I just say, okay, FinViz is proven to be solid with this, for the last several years, so I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to go with what they give us. So this is what the daily chart looked like, and I felt we would pull back and hit this once we went red, and that's exactly what we did. And here you can look at this on the 30-minute chart. You know, here's a fiasco. Had I been watching the 30-minute chart here, I never would have taken this trade. You know, never would have taken this trade. I would have waited and got in, you know, around here. And would have made more money. You know, so, you know, it is something to this. But like everybody else, I like to trade I like to see things move sometimes. And I like to trade. So, you know, I always start with the 5-minute chart. But when markets are like they are today, I always end up going to a 30-minute that I'm watching. Now, on the screen and in chat, you're still seeing a 5-minute chart because generally that's what everybody watches. And, you know, that's how I like to manage my trades on that chart. But I'm on Thinkorswim, my Thinkorswim charts. I do have, let me show you what that looks like real quick. What that montage looks like. I've got one here somewhere. Here we go. This one has Baba on it twice. But I've got the 5-minute chart here. I've got the 2-minute chart. Then I've got the 15 and 60-minute. So all I do is just blow this up. Or I may expand this like so. And, you know, start watching it that way. And I did. I think I showed y'all this last week in day trading, in the day trading class. It was either last week or the week before. All right, so did close out the last part of my swing trade, but I committed the cardinal sin in swing trading. Okay, I was managing this off the freaking 5-minute intraday chart because some news came out on this about the you know, they cleared a major hurdle with their proposed merger with Dominion. And you know, it's one of the regulations that I felt would give them some problems. It's the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. There's an antitrust waiting period that companies have to go through, and they grant early termination of that period for these two companies. So I was short overnight when this thing came out, and I was concerned, to say the least. You know, I was concerned that this thing might pop this morning and all that. So when I got on this morning, you know, all the gains had got up. I think it was pretty much right at break even. And so as the morning, the pre-market progressed, I kept my eye on it, and you know, the ask kept dropping and dropping and dropping. So I was like, hey, that's great. You know, everything is going in the right direction. So once it did, and we got a big dip, I took half off because I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, you know, like a dummy. I take half off here at 38.85. And granted, I'm looking for 37. I'm looking for it to come all the way back down and retest this. And then it starts to push up, and I take it all off at 39.23. And so essentially, I just day traded something that I'm supposed to be, you know, treating as a swing. So then I turn around and make another mistake because I'm looking at this as a continuation. So I get back in short, full size, and you see what happened. It went all the way back up. So we did start pulling back at the close. So I am doing something that I just did not want to do. I am holding it over the weekend. This is going to cause me a little bit of anxiety, but I put myself in this position. It was, and this is exactly what happens when you start managing your swing trades using an intraday chart. It will cause you to make stupid decisions, and that's exactly what I did here. But we locked in the 507.94 from the last half of the previous position. So we did lock that in, but really, really, really not in. I'm not in the right frame of mind right now. So I'll just have to deal with this and sleep on it over the weekend. But not something I normally do. But it's just one of those things. Let's see. I'm trying to find. Okay, I got it. Here's a profit calendar for the month. All green days this week, which is a minor miracle considering how bad I traded in the morning. I just got to clean it up, man. I really have to clean up how I trade in mornings. Most of the money was made after 11 o'clock. So, that's something I'm just going to have to work on. So, for the week, excellent week. 60, 45, 83, the biggest week of this month. Seems like every week, we just got a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. If I can ever clean up my morning act, I think we can be strong here. So for the month, it's 16, 378.90. But the reason why I had this asterisk here is I did not count February 1st and 2nd. This is actually going to go on next month. But I did count it for the week because this is part of this week. So 60, 45, 83 for the week. Then 16, 378.90 for the month. And guys, that's not bad. Because essentially, I am still trading small. You see, I'm trading anywhere from 3 to 500 shares. On a $15 stock or something like that, yeah, I'll take 1,000 shares. But that's not a whole lot of buying power. So I am still trading small. All I did was double my position size from where I was, when I started over. And, when I switch to this other broker, then I'll be back trading smaller size. And I have to get comfortable in that environment, and we'll kind of go from there. So not bad. I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm just not happy with my trading. And I'm going to spend some time this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, in the simulator or the market replay simulator, going over trading some stocks that I didn't trade that were on my watch list. So I won't have any familiarity with that price action and how it worked, and just kind of see where I'm at and try to improve and clean up this execution. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for me this week. And for the month, looking forward to next week getting started and, really trying to make a run at this. I mean, we can have a real good quarter. A real good quarter. And so you guys that aren't in the community that are just looking at this, all of these trades I take are in chat. 90% of them are live in chat. Now, the only time I'm trading outside is when I'm at lunch, because I am going to take a lunch break, but I try to let you know ahead of time. Like before I go to lunch, I tell you exactly what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for. And so when I come back, if I'm in the trade, it won't be a surprise. But we log back in and you get to see me complete the trade. So it's all live, it's all unscripted. Sometimes I may get a slip here and there. You may hear something or hear some noises that may be alarming, but it's just me releasing some steam here. That's all part of my process. I don't keep it built up. I let it out. And then move on. So I can clear my mind and get back to work. All right, guys. Y'all take it easy. Have a great weekend. And for those of you who are looking at waiting for the swing trade watch list and strategy session on Sunday, I will see you guys on Sunday. Everybody else, we'll see you on Monday.